You share affinity with two interesting local governments, Burutu in the Ijaw axis and Ueli in Urhobo. Let's look at the blessedness of Delta State, the multicultural, the multi-ethnic Delta. In the light of the foregoing, would you see that as a strength or weakness?
Yes, that's unity in diversity. That's what makes Delta State very unique. Delta State can be described to be a mini Nigeria. In those days when you used to have military administrators, it takes somebody who has foresight, tolerance, detribalized, focus to rule Delta State. Because we have different ethnic groups. We have the Shekiris, Isokos, Urhobos, for want of time, there are Nyomas and Ijaws. And over time, we've been living together as one good entity. That is why our arts and culture dance troupe, always an award-winning dance troupe, because whenever they are performing, they take into recognition the various ethnic groups, their different dance steps. It makes it very unique. So that diversity that people think is a division to us, it's a plus, and it's a very, very strong strength for us as a state.
You, someone that has been described as having interacted with most of the folks, someone who's been described as having an open mind, charisma, ability to interrelate. What went into your makeup that informs that level of interconnectivity?
Okay, well, the description is by you and others. I can't describe myself, but I know that for you to survive in life, you cannot depend on yourself alone. You must relate with others, either by way of trade, or by culture, or by one mechanism or the other. And as immediate past chairman PDP Delta South, for those people who were chairman of Delta North and Delta Central, for Delta South, for Delta North, you can just come out and say, Anyama Kwenu, and they will answer you, hey. That covers all the Adiomas. For Delta Central, you can come out and say, Urhobo Wado, and they will answer you, hey. That covers the entire Delta Central. But if you come to Delta South, where I managed as chairman of PDP, you can't do that. So you have the different dialects. You have to greet in Ijaw, you greet in Isoko, you greet in Ishekiri, you greet in Urhobo. We have some Urhobos in Delta South. You must bring them together. And in the process of my doing that, I try to make sure that our politics is made local. We look at the needs and the requirements of those persons in line with their traditional requirements, so that nobody is left behind. That we did for almost 3.5 years before I became Honorable Commissioner for Oil and Gas. That even helps me a lot. As Honorable Commissioner for Oil and Gas, I was saddled with the responsibility of managing disputes between oil companies and host communities. We are blessed with oil and gas from Ndokwa, Eka, Urhobos, Isokos, Ijaws, Ishekiris, all through. And His Excellency Governor Okuama felt, oh, okay, since he was able to survive as Chairman Delta South, he must understand the dynamics. And that actually brought me in as Commissioner for Oil and Gas, using that experience to create peace within the host communities and the oil companies, making us #1 in oil production during my time. The very best in terms of business friendliness for oil companies was Delta State, as a result of us understanding the dynamics of the various cultures, various tribes in our state. And probably that is what my friends and colleagues have put together to enable them use those words that I am dynamic in what I do. It's not what I said, it's what they said, and I appreciate them for that.
Well, let's look at the politics of Delta State proper, especially that of the People's Democratic Party. Do you think this diversity, this richness is being enhanced by politics? A look at the previous election, I believe a lot of lessons has been learned. In our previous conversation, you did emphasize, to quote your exact words, you did state that the People's Democratic Party need not rest on false comfort.
Security. That we have to continue to work. We have to continue our assessment, correct?
Exactly.
Yes.
For a layman like me, how would you situate that in context? And what exactly do you think the party needs to do to move its fortunes forward?
Okay. For laymen like us, let me add myself to you as a layman. It's my perception. I may be wrong. As you know, no one man knows it all. But I felt coming from the primaries to the main election, as a party for us, we need to do a proper reconciliation within ourselves. Democracy must start from your home. And PDP being the ruling party in our state, there is need for us to sit back, check on our members that have been aggrieved, either before the primaries, during the primaries, or during the elections, and bring them home. Of course, some of them went to court and saw the end of the court processes. But you cannot throw anybody outside for one reason or the other. There may be ways that the party may have wronged you. You don't burn your house because you're angry. So I think it is time for us to now set up proper reconciliatory bodies. Kudos to the chairman PDP Delta North, Honorable Moses Idu. I saw somewhere over the internet that he has already commenced such reconciliatory processes. And once you reconcile your house, a house united is a stronger house. So I think, drawing from the last election, there's need for us to sit as a family, check and see where we went wrong during the emergence of delegates, where we went wrong during the emergence of candidates, and where candidates who emerged as candidates thought that their emergence was already victory and there was no need to work hard. It is proper when you finish getting your ticket as a candidate, the next thing to do is to go around all those people who contested with you, appeal to them, win them in, buy them into your system. That was what I meant by saying, doing a SWOT analysis and taking necessary measures for laymen like us. There could be more, but I just want to stop there for now. Yes.
All right. Well, we can no longer deny the impression that it's about time. Most of your folks we've interacted with are optimistic of the possibility of new leadership in the party since Congress is inevitable. Your name seems to be ringing bell and on their lips. I want to ask, should the leadership of the party get trust on your shoulders? What direction do you think the People's Democratic Party Delta State should be advancing towards in the light of the events of the time?
Okay, my name has been ringing bells. I've been looking for the bells. I've not seen any bell yet, but in terms of leadership and my name, they are synonymous. I thought they were just Chinese whispers, but there are certain things when they come beyond whispers, you start saying, okay, what do I do? Sit down and seek the face of God, pray about it, and like I told you before, it would be an honor if my party asked me to come and serve in any capacity, be it chairman or otherwise. But if given the opportunity to serve, I'll be very glad. And having taken my time to sit down, pray about it, speak to friends, people have been pushing me to say, come on, do this, you have the charisma, you have the capacity, you have what it takes to do it. And I've checked myself. I also believe I do. At this time, we require persons with the tendency to unite us more rather than divide us. And I feel I have that potential of uniting us more, making us stronger, and putting our best foot forward. Having worked as Delta South chairman, having worked as ad hoc state disciplinary committee chairman, having worked as secretary to the fact findings to disciplinary committee in the 2019 election, also having worked as the immediate past chairman of the party in media and publicity, also having been taken as a train-the-trainer program for the elections, a member of the election planning committee, and so many other things. I think it is time for us to bring such an experience to bear. And I believe I am accessible. For people who want to see me, I pick all calls, I reply all text messages. Those are the kind of things I think will require for somebody to be our party leadership. Having said that, you should also be a fluent communicator, somebody who can convince the enemy to join them. When I use the word enemy, I use it politely, but I think I can get better if it comes to communication. What you also can for somebody who wants to lead us, again, by my perception, ability to be detribalized, a bridge builder, and you should have the prerequisites to understand the various traditions in the state. You should be able to understand. I don't mean speak them. I have been blessed with the capacity to speak them all. But it's even better if you speak and understand them. So that call from my people to say, okay, Ima, come and lead us. I believe I will have the support of my people. And if given the opportunity, I'll do my best to lead them to land safe on Zion's side.
Tracing political leadership antecedents in Delta State. But for the sake of time, let's narrow that down to the immediate past governor of Delta State, Dr. Okuama, and the current governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori. These are leaders you've worked with, these are leaders you know too, where you understand their signs and dispositions. What in their leadership experience do you think you've picked that will be instructive and of a guide to you?
Well, having worked with my Oga, Senator Dr. Ijaw Urhobo, the Okuama himself, I picked up a lot of listening skills from him. He's a great listener. Somebody who will listen and put all the indices together before saying whatever he wants to say. I learned from him. And I also know that he's somebody who likes to carry everybody along. He does not feel like you're too inferior, not important. That I've learned from Okuama. Then I can also tell you that the present governor that is there now, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Oborowori, who is also my Oga and friend, the Kodokwe himself, he has all those qualities that I've just mentioned of Senator Dr. Ijaw Urhobo, plus, let's get it on. He looks at it objectively and responds spontaneously. So, which means he has actually picked up those skills from our overall boss, Senator Dr. Ijaw Urhobo, which is processing and responding. The difference between the two is one will process at his own pace, being a medical doctor, and the other one, as a legislator, processes and discharge like that. He does not wear his emotions on his sleeves. If anything, he will say it the way it is. So I think where you don't wear your emotions on your sleeves, you are diligent in what you do, you are articulate in collating informations, your interpersonal skills are of global standard, and you are there for the people, accessible, available. I'm sure that with those qualities put together, your management expertise will definitely reach out to the doorsteps of our party faithfuls.
From our discussion so far, you've been able to establish and even emphasize your deep knowledge and grasp of the politics and culture of Delta South and Delta Central. Delta North, I would like to know how much of insight, how much understanding, how much you grasp the politics and culture of Delta North. Do you think you understand the people, the culture and politics of Delta North well enough?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I have two lines of approach in terms of my interactions with Delta North. As chairman of the State Ad hoc Disciplinary Committee, immediate past in the party, I interacted with lots of people in Delta North, be it from Ndokwa Nation, from Okwane, from Eka, from the Oshimili or Anyaja. I found out that these are people who like for them to have a level playing field in all that they do. They will grant you their love and respect. You should also do that in return. And then let me take you back to my role as immediate past commissioner for oil and gas. There are disputes that are resolved in places like Umusadige, satisfactorily. Ogbiani, satisfactorily. Okbai, satisfactorily. Beniku, satisfactorily. Igbuku, I'm mentioning them by names now. Umusam, Ogboli, Obudogwa, and just to mention a few. I've discovered that these people from Delta North are people who love the party. So long as you give them the right candidate, you ensure that there was democracy in the emergence of that candidate, they will vote en masse for you. That they have shown in the last election. They're peace-loving people, and in my living with them, I'll give you an example. We lost 2 people from, I'm plugging if you want me to, Midwestern Oil. Lost 2 people who were indigenous of Ndokwa Nation. As an honorable commissioner for oil and gas then, we ensured that the crisis was resolved. There were mass protests all over the Ndokwa Nation. We were able to manage that crisis and ensure that the people who died were given befitting burials, their families, houses built for them, their children given scholarships to tertiary level, then the job opportunities that were lost replaced, and so on and so forth. I physically went there to Kwale to talk with the various stakeholders with the help of our immediate past governor, deputy governor, and the peace advocacy committee led by Professor Yubaire and Dr. Edwin Uzo. It was quite peaceful. So today I have tremendous respect from Delta North, just as I also have respect for them. Then if you come down to the car speaking side, there was a time I had complaints from the Owa Nation, and it would be so pompous of me to invite a person in the status of the OB of Owa to my office that I want to have a status inquiry. You must show respect to the Traditional Institute. Yours truly, I went to the palace of the OB, knelt down before him, took his inquiries, found out what his complaints were, summoned the oil company, and resolved it. That is what we want to see in leadership. Leadership that will be result-oriented, go to the people, seek the root cause of the issues, and address them. That I did in Delta North, same thing I did in Delta South, same thing I did in Delta Central. I found myself sometimes in the palace of the Olu Palace, the palace of Olu of Wari, in resolving crisis as it concerns oil companies and host communities. Believe you me, tremendous support I got from the Olu himself. And that experience for me is priceless. I also got from the Okoro de Afolomu, which is an Urhobo speaking area, may so rest in peace. It was almost 100 years old or more. As at that time, the man was still reading without glasses, unlike me, who is wearing this now. So that experience is priceless for me. I also went to the palace of the Odonogbo of Ole to resolve crisis. So it's not a matter of bringing the crisis onto the office. Hands-on approach. That we will implement when we are able to lead us if the opportunity comes. All these experiences put together, we will use them to bring succor to our party faithfuls, to let them have that confidence in our leadership, and continue to win all our future elections.
Delta State is like a micro in a macrocosm when you consider Delta State in relation to Nigeria, considering its diversities. For an onlooker, Delta State has its complexities. How will you describe this complexity, this sweetness for people who might not understand the politics of Delta State?
The sweetness of politics in Delta State is more or less consultation. If you're not consulting, if you think you can impose, you meet a brick wall. Take, for example, our seated serving governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Borivori, consulted far and wide, went through the 3 senatorial districts, each and every ward, no word was left behind. And when you do that, the people will see that this person is genuine. If you think you can sit in your chair and just make yourself whoever you want to be, Deltans are very enlightened people. They're educated people, highly educated people. They can see through you. And once that is done, they will reject. And there will be all this uproar and protest and all that everywhere. But that we have been able to manage very well so far. The likes of our seated serving chairman of the party, Olorugu Barrister Kingsley Siso, has done very well in terms of consultations, in terms of going around to make sure that everybody is carried along. So, like I said, our immediate or our current and seated serving chairman, Barrister Olorugu Siso, has also done very well in terms of consultations. He wouldn't have succeeded in producing a 2-time governor, plus our current governor, Sheriff Oboribori, Right Honorable Sheriff Oboribori, if he was high-headed. All those ones we have been able to learn from. We will not allow him to go with his experience. We will always consult. We will consult people like Chief Uzo. We will consult people like Dr. Sedebe. We will consult people like James Manager. We will consult people like Esiso in our decision making, because people like Logidi, all those people who have tested the chairmanship position in our party before in our state, their experiences cannot go to waste. We will continue to consult them and take from the experience, start from the experience that they've had before to better our future decisions. So the sweetness of politics in Delta State is actually sweet as you have described it, and it's definitely going to be sweeter as time goes on.
Well, before I let you go, we cannot close our eye to the raging crisis in Delta South and Delta Central, specifically in Okuama and Okolaba, where a lot of lives have been lost and their souls find peace. People had expected that in the light of that, the Ijaw and the Urhobo would have been throwing fisticuffs at the moment. How would you situate what has kept Delta in one piece, regardless of this crisis?
It's like you're asking me to share myself into two and fight myself. It's impossible. My father is Ijaw, my mother is Urhobo, my paternal grandmother is Ishakiri, I'm married to Isoko, married to Ndokwa. I can't fight myself. The state, we intermarry. Of course, there have been issues about boundaries in the past. We have state boundary issues with Edo State. It does not mean that we are at war with Edo State. We have boundary issues in between two Urhobo villages. It does not mean that they are at war. If you have boundary issues between Ijaws or Okuama and Okolaba, it does not mean that they are at war. But what has happened now that lives of the military men and civilians have been lost, I can tell you that any loss of life is regrettable. No life is worth to be taken as a result of, I cannot even mention the size of land, let alone lives of military men, people who are supposed to be serving our nation. Children, women, pregnant women and all that. It's highly regrettable. Enough is enough. I will say that with a big pause to my father's side and my mother's side. Enough is enough. Lade usokumoye soze kenotwama utero awonale amani kwovo. We should stop fighting and we want people. It's better to judge. I had to go into my dialect because there may be people who are watching who may not have the privilege of understanding English to the level that we have been able to attain. But it is proper for us to know that we're one people. There's no need for us to quarrel. Whatever the issues are, we can bring them to the table. Like I used to say to them as Commissioner for Oil and Gas, bring all our quarrels and all our issues to the table, and let's address them there and prefer solutions. I think that is the best way to go. What has happened is happened. It's regrettable. I very much think we should put it behind us and continue to live as one. You can hardly find one Urhobo person that hasn't gotten a relationship or a relative from Ijaw, or vice versa, or Ishekiri, or Isoko, or any part of the Anyama nation. That is the beauty about the unity we have in Delta State. I very much think there should be a proper judicial inquiry on this issue, look at the root causes of it, and take lasting solutions that will ensure that this never happens again. On a personal note, I will speak to my people. If it means calling a meeting of the various leadership, I'll call them and let them know that, look, this is not fit, it's not proper to happen in our area. And our youth should please pipe low and calm down and let government handle this matter in a way that would be acceptable by all. You can see what the governor has done. The governor did not say, I am Urhobo, or I am Igbo, or I am Ijaw. You can see the actions that he has been taking so far to ensure that the destruction of lives and property stops. I remember very well there was a crisis between Okuama and Okwagbe. All the Okwagbe people ran to my village. We provided shelter, even in my compound, we provided shelter for them to stay. Because we must be our brothers' keepers. And that matter has been resolved. They've all gone back to their various places. I want to appeal to our brothers and sisters of the two ethnic groups. Let's stop the war. What is it, by the way? I don't think there is any war. Come to think of it, we've been living together for years. I just think it's a misunderstanding carried too far by some people whom I think have misunderstood the whole situation. Please, let's stop the fighting and encourage people to come in to develop our area. We have lots of government projects going on in the riverine area. Those projects cannot continue if we are at war with ourselves. Our pupils, our children, our school children will be losing term time in terms of education. Some of them are supposed to be in school by now. I don't think school will be functioning if crisis is going on. So my take on that is my people should please try and talk more and war less. Thank you.
It is usually said that these too shall pass. May this pass quickly. Immeasurable thanks to you, Prince Iman Amgbaduba, immediate past Commissioner for Oil and Gas, Delta State, for giving us your time.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.